Hey everyone, it's Gina from Gina K Designs, and I am so excited to have all of you here with me tonight for another edition of Stampin' Chat. Tonight, I get to play with the brand new Gnome for the Holidays kit. So this kit is something that I designed for ThermoWeb, and it's available over on the ThermoWeb site. Tom will drop the link into the comments so that you guys can find it easily, both on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm telling you, this kit is so much fun. Now, yes, it's definitely a holiday kit, but these little gnomes, they're going to be great for all year round projects because, I mean, you got to think garden gnome, you got to think just birthdays, all kinds of cute little magical things that you can do with these cute gnomes. So this kit focuses on holiday stuff because of the stamp set that's included with it. But again, you can use these gnomes for any time of the year. So make sure you get your kit so that you can make some of these projects not along with me, but for the holiday season. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to show you all of the beautiful components that you get in this kit. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that because I designed this kit, I always get samples first to make sure things work. Because when you're designing things like die sets and then stamp sets that coordinate with them and then stencils that match that, you always want to get a prototype first and make sure that they all line up properly and they do what you intended them to do. I think I have a funny example of what happened. Do I have that? I think I do. Yeah, I'll show you what happened to one of the stencil prototypes that came back. But so I don't have the box, but I saw the box and it is absolutely adorable. So it's this cute little box and it's got this label on the front with an adorable little layout that you probably have seen in some of the graphics. So this way you can keep all of the components for this kit together so you can make lots of projects and easily locate all your parts. So let me show you what's inside of the box because I don't have the box. So let's go to the overhead. All right, so first you get all of these dies. This is a huge die set, and these are actually the gnomes. So the gnomes aren't stamps. The gnomes aren't, part of the stencil. These are actually bits and pieces that you actually cut out with your die cutting machine and assemble them like three-dimensional gnomes. Then there's also a big tree that you can decorate using the stamps or the stencil. So you can make a Christmas tree or you can make something the Northwoods, whatever you want. But this is a pine style tree. And then you get these mountain caps. So there is a huge mountain in the stamp set. And then these are the peaks of the mountain. And you can do these in glitz glitter gel. You could do them in embossing powder. You can do them with glue and glitter, or you can do them with flock, foil, so many fun things. Now, the second component to these dies is this stamp set. And this is the stamp set called Gnome for the Holidays. I have it up against a white piece of cardstock so you can see everything. Now, there's no gnomes in here, but what there is there's the different pieces for the hats, so you can decorate the hats of the gnomes. There's a little ball for the end of the hat if you wanted to emboss that. There are two different styles of decorations for the tree, but I made sure that these decorations don't overlap so you can actually do both of them on the tree at the same time. So you could foil these or you could emboss these and then go over it with ink, and you can mix and match mediums to create some really cool looks. Then there are these huge mountains. This is a gigantic stamp set, a gigantic stamp. And these mountains, you can stamp them in brown, or if you're creative like Karen Hightower, she did purple mountains, Majesty. They were absolutely beautiful in her project. So these mountains can be stamped, and then you can cap them by cutting out different things to put on top. Even if you just wanted to cut out white cardstock, you could do that. Super simple. Then there are all these fun greetings. Gnome is where the heart is, chillin' with my gnomies. There's Gnome, place like home for the holidays, and then more generic greetings like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a gift for you. Now, those of you that have things like Tim Holtz tags or tag dies, these gnomes are adorable on tags, and you can even use them to make little gift card holders and things like that. So I wanted to show you that. Then the last component is this stencil. So this stencil allows you to do similar things. For example, you can stamp your mountains, and then you can line up your mountain tops on here. We have to find the right way to do it. There we go. So there are the mountain tops. You line up with the stencil, and you can add things like glitz glitter gel in either the silver, the iridescent, or the white, or the gold. You can squeeze Versamark over that, and then you can emboss it with white embossing powder or our puffy white to give it more of a snowy, granular look. So all of these do the same thing as some of our Stampin' Stencil kits. So when you cut out the hat, then you can do the decorations on the hat. And remember that you can have hats going in both directions. So when you cut out an image, you can choose which way you want to do it. And the beauty of the stencil is you can turn it in either direction to decorate it. You can't do that with the stamp set. So you might want to stamp one side and then stencil the other side, all kinds of fun mix and match combinations. Now, when we had this stencil designed, I wanted them to do it as a 3-piece stencil where you'd have this part of the stencil and then you'd have these two edges. These are actually snow hills. So I asked them if they would do them separately. Well, we talked a little bit about it, and the truth is that when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of kits, it's easy to lose pieces when you're trying to pack them. So they left tiny, tiny little nibs in between that if you get your scissors in there, you can you don't even have to cut it. Like just get your blade in there and right up against it, and it just kind of breaks right off. And this way you can, I left this on here on purpose so that I could show this to you. You can have these pieces separate. Now, what I do is I store everything in stamp pockets. So I'll just store the stencil together with my stamp set and my die set. So everything is in one place. But if you have a stencil pockets, you can use that as well. And this gives you mountains that you can do in different directions. So let's say you want gray along this edge. Well, then you can use this part of the stencil. But if you want more of a bluish shade of the whole hill or a grayish shade of the whole hill, you can use this edge of the stencil. You can also turn them in different directions to create different snowbanks going in different ways. So this is so much fun. Yes, I'm going to definitely be foiling tonight. Absolutely. I know some of you are wanting to see that, and I will definitely do that for you. I'm going to cut the rest of this out. And once you cut it, then, it's cut and it's done. But this really made it easy so nobody ended up missing any pieces in their kit. When you see the assembly process, sometimes it gets a little crazy when you're assembling a kit. So we knew that these little pieces would stay all together if we just did the little nibs here. Okay. So this is what your stencil will end up looking like. All right, so let's get started. I want to show you, I had some fun here. Let me get my dies out of the way. Oh, I have to show you what else is in the kit. Goodness, I didn't show you what else. So again, I told ThermoWeb not to send this to me because I already had it, but you get 2 complete packs of foil. A complete pack of the glimmering gold and a complete pack of the sparkling silver. Now, I keep mine in stamp pockets as well. This way I can pre-cut all my foil into different sizes. And you can see I've used a lot of glimmering gold over the last few months of our Stampin' Chats. And I've done some foiling videos, so I need some new glimmering gold. But you get 2 complete full packs of these. So you're going to have so much foil to play with. So that's a lot of stuff that you get in this kit, and I love it. It is perfect for the holidays. So let me show you what I did first of all, I want to show you the card that I made. I don't know if you didn't see this on Instagram. Let me zoom in. I made this card last night, and I put this up on Instagram today. We had a little Instagram hop, and later on you can head over to Instagram to Gina K Designs. You can start there, or you can start on the ThermoWeb Instagram, and we have a whole hop going on of inspiration. And what I decided to do with this card is I didn't use any foil, any flock, anything. I just used it as a stamp and die set. Because I know some of you are new to foiling. Maybe you don't have a laminator yet. Maybe you want one down the line, but you want to make sure that you can use this without it as soon as you get it. So I did this one just with embossing powder. I just stamped that and added the dots with some white embossing powder. I cut his little body out with some pattern paper. I put a pattern paper background on there and added a few sequins. And you can see how cute that is, even if you didn't foil it or glitz it or flock it. Now, of course, that's all super cute. So you're gonna love that. But I just want to make sure that you guys know that for those times when maybe you don't want your laminator out, or you just need to make a quick, simple card, you don't have time for things to dry, you can still do all of that with this kit. Okay, so last night I went die cut crazy, and I cut tons and tons of things out. I had so much fun cutting these out. So here are some hats. I did them in 3 different colors. I did these in Lucky Clover, Red Hot, and Turquoise Sea. And I did all the hats that way. I also wanted to show you this. These, I don't know if you can see that, but you should be able to see that. I cut these out of the Deco-Foil, ThermoWeb Deco-Foil flock transfer sheets in white. So these beards are fuzzy. Isn't that fun? You don't even have to have a laminator to do this. Just take your die and run this right through your die cutting machine. So I cut a bunch of beards out like that. And it's really fun, especially if you're making these for kids. Kids love texture. Well, I guess I'm a kid because I love texture too. So I did a bunch of these. And then I also did a few of the little tassels for the tops of the hats. And I did those in the flock as well. So make sure if you're ordering anything over on the ThermoWeb site, make sure you add some white flock into the mix, because it's just too fun. And like I said, you don't even need a laminator to use it. Okay, they also have a lot of really good colors in flock that you could decorate the hats if you use transfer gel, and you use flock with it. You could have fuzzy parts on your hats. So I cut out all these hats, just had so much fun cutting them. And there's 3 different style hats. And like I said, you can use the hats in either direction. So if you have, let me just show you a little trick that I do sometimes when I want to use a hat going in an opposite direction. So you might notice that when you cut with the die, it kind of bends it forward, like toward your paper. But you can take your score tool or a bone folder and you can press that right back out. So I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can show you up close here. Let's see. So, so can you see that I was able to press that line out? Where on this one, you can kind of see the line in there. Can you see that, Tom? I don't know if that's easy to see on camera. But if you can't see it, trust me, it does work. You just get a bone folder or something flat, even the edge of an acrylic block, and just press the line out. Then you can use these hats going in both directions. So that's a little trick if you don't want the little lines that are left behind when you die cut. So I cut a bunch of little bodies out of Lucky Clover. These are bodies, red and this Turquoise Sea. And I cut some beards of regular white cardstock, cut a couple trees. And then I cut all these little peaks for the mountains out of white. So it's so much fun. I also cut noses. So one of the dies is a nose, and I cut a couple different colors. I cut warm cocoa, and I also cut Barely There. And then I'll show you on my card here, when I used Barely There, I sponged it just a little bit with a little bit of excess warm cocoa or dark chocolate. I don't know what was on this brush. A little bit of brown ink just on the edge to make it stand out a little bit more from the beard. So you can cut noses in all different colors. And then I've got tons of feet here. But what's really cute about these feet, I like my gnomes to not have arms. So I'll just say that up front. I'm just going to layer one together for you to show you real quick here. So you have the little body, and then you pick your favorite beard. There's two styles. One has little wings and one doesn't. So you pick your beard, and then you pick whatever hat you want to put on top, right? And then you can put your little fuzzy tassel on the end. And then you can add feet. So you can put them underneath. You can have them straight. You can have them toes pointing down. You can have them like heels kicked up, however you want to put them. But you can also use the little feet as little hands if you still want to have little hands for your gnome. Maybe you want to have him holding a Christmas ornament, or you want to have him, maybe you want two of them holding a tag that goes across your card. So you can put the little feet on there as little mittens. So I know it looks like Papa Smurf. You're right. Let me zoom in a little so you guys can see that a little closer. So you see how I just like, you can have them holding a little banner. So many fun little ways to use these guys. So let's make a card. Let's make a project tonight. I have so many card and tag ideas for this, but I'm going to do something a little more simple tonight. Well, all my cards, you guys know me. I'm more of a simple gal when it comes to stamping. I don't get very complicated, but you certainly can get complicated with these. The other thing that's fun about these is you can make Christmas ornaments out of them. So you can put them back to back, and just all you have to do is put a nose on the back and, you know, have the two bodies going front and back. And once you get the beard on there, anything will be covered. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it this way. And then you can make little Christmas ornaments to hang on your tree. So that's always fun. And one thing I saw somebody do with some other, like a little Santa Claus die cut, and I thought it would look really cute with these gnomes, is take pictures of your kids or your grandkids and then blow them up on your computer so the face is the right size, and then put their face in there on top of the little body and a hat. And you can make ornaments of your kids or grandkids to hang on your tree, and they will get such a kick out of seeing themselves hanging on the tree all dressed up like Santa. Okay, so let's actually get to some projects here. All right, one thing that I want to show you is how I like to use the Decofoil Transfer Gel versus the Blanco, the Duo versus the Blanco. So a lot of you may have gone to ThermoWeb's site and you may have seen that there are two options. And these options, yep, I'm using regular cardstock, Donnie. These options are good for different things. Now, I find that the Duo works really well for both foil and flock. And the Blanco I really like for foil and enamel. Now, enamel, you may not have seen enamel because I don't have any on the table, but my daughter Rena has a line with ThermoWeb. It's called the Electropop line, and it's all neons. Well, the enamels are neon foils, but they're very transparent. So you need the white behind it to really make those colors pop. The Decofoil Transfer Gel Duo is great for flock because it stays sticky. And when you use flock, you actually use it in the reverse way. So I'm going to show you all this tonight, but I just wanted to mention that. So let's foil a couple of things. So I'm going to start with a hat, and I like to cut everything out first. So I have my pieces cut, and then I'll take a little bit of the Gina K Designs and ThermoWeb Dot Runner adhesive, and I will place these. I like to like really spread them out on scrap pieces of cardstock like that. This way, when I use my stencil, I'm not leaning on other parts. I can stencil this, and then I can come down here and stencil this, and then I can go up here and stencil that. So spread them out on some scrap paper. You don't have to use good cardstock like I'm using. You can use just plain copy paper, an old magazine sheet, anything like that. Okay, and I like to just hold it down with some adhesive because the adhesive will roll right off the back, but I want to make sure that it doesn't move when I'm working. So what you're going to do is you're going to just line up the stencil where you want it. And then I like to tack it down with a little bit of purple tape. Now, the purple tape, sometimes it's a little tricky if your hands are greasy, and I put lotion on, so I'm hoping this works. But with the purple tape, you really want to press down on this purple tape because this is not the old style purple tape. This is the new and improved purple tape. Now, some people say, well, it doesn't stick so well, but that's because they're treating it like the old purple tape. It actually sticks really well when you press down on that. You see, it's sticking really well. What happens is you guys are used to the other purple tape being a lot more sticky. So you just put it down there and then you see that it's like flapping back up and you think it's not as good, but it actually is. It's just different. So you have to make sure that you really press down on it to get it to stick. The beauty of this purple tape is it does not tear your cardstock. So you can use it for masking, you can use it for die cutting, and it doesn't ruin your project. So purple tape is awesome. All right, I'm going to start with a little bit of Blanco transfer gel. This way you can see it a little better. And I'm going to use just a palette knife. You can use any kind of palette knife that you have. I like to use that for these smaller images, but Thermoweb makes the Stencil Pal. And the Stencil Pal, you have to have one of these if you're going to use this product with any of big stencils, like some of my big background stencils, because this will just give you the smoothest finish. And I watched somebody do it one time, and they put it, all this, they got it all over their stencil, and then they were going like this. And they were saying it's not really working very well. And that's because don't use this edge. Use the flat edge. When you use the flat edge, then everything gets smoothed out really, really easily. Yeah, so if you saw that that stencil and you want to know why it's all weird, it's because I cut off the little mountains that were just attached with little nibs, and it was just to keep them together in the packaging. Okay, so I'm going to use the Blanco here, and I'm going to take just a little bit, and this is kind of the consistency of mayonnaise. So you're going to spread it kind of like you're spreading peanut butter onto a sandwich. You're just going to, get a nice lump of it on there. And then I like to put the excess back in the jar. And then using the side of the palette knife, I'm going to go in the direction of my lines. And I'm just going to get rid of all the excess. You could go this way, but what happens is the knife goes all the way down the lines. So I like going in the direction of these lines. I find that it's easier. And then I'm going to just put the excess back into my gel. Now, life hack here. When you close your Decofoil transfer gel, don't leave stuff on the edge like this. Wipe it away and make your edge nice and clean. This way you won't need your husband or your neighbor or your son-in-law or your mother-in-law to help you. Tom's laughing at me. Actually, he's not laughing. He's scowling at me. But you won't need to get somebody that's stronger than you or has stronger hands than you to crank that open. All right. So now I've transferred gel that. I'm having too much fun tonight, guys. And then when you pull this up, you want to pull it straight up. Okay, like that. And then you have all your little lines, okay? Valerie goes, duh, 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 duh. She's laughing at me. Okay, and then I always have a little tray of water close by, and I just put my stencil in it. I don't mess around and wait because this stuff will dry on there, and I don't want it to dry on there. So if I put it into water right away, it keeps it wet. And then when I have time, I can, I can clean that off. So then I leave them stuck on here so they're not going to go anywhere and they're not going to fall off. I'm going to do another one. Let me get this back out of the water here and wipe that gel off. Okay. So I have I bought these things. These are by Kleenex. I thought they were Kleenex. They're not. They're paper towels. They're the most uncomfortable things to blow your nose with, but they're great for my craft room. So, I'm all over the place tonight. So you can see that because I didn't let that dry, that just wiped right off, and all that was water on it. Okay, now you can also use pixie spray for this. And pixie spray is a fabulous product by ThermoWeb. You can spray it on the back of your stencil and then you don't need the purple tape. But just for the sake of doing this project and not worrying about cleaning up the pixie spray, I'm just using purple tape tonight. So I'm going to do another hat here. Let me get a red one. And this one I'm going to do in the Duo transfer gel. So we'll put this down here. Okay, let me zoom in a bit more so you guys can see me. Sorry, my zoom is gimpy. Okay, so now I've taped that down, and that is not the one I wanted to use, but I'll use this one. Okay, so you can see now you can put the little dots on this. And I know some of you are going to ask me why there isn't a dot right there, but that's where the nose goes. So there's a little space. And again, I'm going to tape down my stencil with some purple tape. And if you're just joining me, purple tape you really want to rub to get it to hold. It's a new improved version of purple tape, and it works really well, but it doesn't work the same way as the old one. And that's, that's good because it doesn't tear your projects. But if you don't know that you have to really rub on it, you can have problems with it lifting. But it's not the product. It's just the technique. Okay. And I just want to give a shout out. I don't know if anybody is watching the live tonight from ThermoWeb, but I know I saw Sue. Sue, Scott, Dawn, Julia, Kat, Sharon. If any of you guys are watching, Joe, I just want to say thank you guys so much for always making such amazing quality products for me. I absolutely love everything that's in this kit, and I am so proud to have my name behind it. You guys are awesome. Okay, so I'm going to open up the Duo here. And now when you use the Duo, this is going to go on white too, but you might notice it looks a little bit different. It's actually just a hair thinner, and this is going to dry clear. So the Duo, it's a little easier to know when it's dry because it dries clear, but you're going to use it the same exact way. So there we go. I've got my little dots there, and I'm going to grab a paper towel, and then I'm going to peel this off. So this obviously looks different when it goes on, and it works better for the flock, where the Blanco works better for the enamel, and both work really well for the foil. Okay, so there's my little dots on there, just waiting to dry and then to be foiled. So I'm going to clean this right here on my mat, and I'm going to put that away. So these stencils clean up really nice, great quality stencils. It's all so much fun. Okay, so now we do not have lots of time to wait for this to dry. So last night I used the transfer gel and the both the Duo and the Blanco on a bunch of pieces so I can show you how this works. So let me pass this over to Tom. Tom, will you save that for me? Okay, so no sneezing allowed. All right, so here is a completely dry one that I did using the Blanco. So you can see it dried white. I have a tree here that dried white, and I have a couple little hats here that dried in white. With the Duo, I have a tree, and you can see it dried clear. This little hat dried clear. And this little hat dried clear. So we're going to do some flock on these, and we're going to do some foil on these. And I also want to show you that I glitzed a couple. I used the Glitz glitter gel for a couple, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is pure glitter in a clear, gluey substance. And when it dries so sparkly. There's no dyes in here. There's no fillers. There's nothing. So it's just pure glitter, and it dries so sparkly. But somebody called our store because they bought one. And when they bought it, it looked like this. And they said, that is not very pretty. Well, that is fine. That just means that it's been sitting a little bit and it needs to be stirred up. So you just take your palette knife and you get in there and you stir all of that up and mix it really well, and it'll work. It goes right back together again. Because the clear gloss stuff that has all the glitter in it is lighter than the glitter. So if it sits for a while, the glitter's going to settle at the bottom and the gloss is going to come to the top, the clear gloss. So there we go. Now we have perfectly smooth, creamy, beautiful Glitz glitter gel. All right. And the Glitz glitter gel you use exactly the same way as you use the Decofoil transfer gel. You use it with a palette knife. You use it with the stencil. And when you're done, you will have very, very sparkly little designs. And I'll show you the two that I did. I did one in gold, this little hat in gold, and you can see how that sparkles. That's so fun. And I did one in silver, and you can see how that sparkles too. And that's so fun. Okay, you didn't try mixing it? They didn't try. Well, you know, I think that they were afraid because when they opened it, it didn't look right to them. It wasn't what they had seen in a video. So they didn't want to touch it in case we needed to see it. So it's okay. All right. So now I'm going to put these aside here. One thing I want to show you, when you do this, sometimes the little bit of transfer gel will ooze off the edge, and I just trim that off before I actually do the foiling. You can do it after as well. Just makes it a little easier. The foil will stick to your paper, but it's all right. We'll do that one later. All right, so let's start some foiling. So I have my laminator all heated up. Now, when you do use a laminator and you're not using something like the Mink, I know a lot of you guys have the Mink, and this works with the Mink, so you don't have to go out and buy another laminator. But if you don't want the Mink, because the Mink is not cheap, ThermoWeb has a fantastic laminator. It's the Royal Sovereign laminator. And this laminator is what they test all of the products on. So when people ask me, I do recommend this laminator, because if you ever have a problem with a ThermoWeb product, it's, you know, I never have problems with ThermoWeb products. But if you ever do, you know, they're going to want to know what kind of laminator you're using, because different laminators maybe aren't the same high quality, and that can cause some problems. Whatever laminator you have, though, try it first. You don't have to run out and buy a new one. This one I really like, but you do need to let it heat up for about 15 minutes before you use it. 15 to 20 minutes to be safe. Now, I'm going to grab some parchment paper. I have so much parchment paper. I keep all my parchment paper in this big stamp pocket. And I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper. And then what you want to do is you want to have another piece of cardstock in there. So I just use the Gina K Designs layering weight cardstock. And I slip that into the parchment paper. And that just acts like a little shelf. This way, when you have all these little pieces in here, they're not flapping around. Plus, it creates a little more tension, because foil adheres to your projects because of two things: heat and pressure. So when you have this extra piece of cardstock in there, you add a little bit of pressure, and it gives you better foiling results. So I'm going to start with some of my glimmering gold foil. And this is one of the colors that comes in the kit. It's so much fun. All right. So I'm going to do his hat in glimmering gold. So what I want to do is I like to turn it upside down so I can see what I'm actually doing. And then I cut a small piece to fit. Doesn't have to be huge. And it really just has to cover the areas that have the transfer gel on them. But I like to make it about the same size. And then this one could do another hat. So, you know, don't throw any foil away ever. Now I'm going to place that. Let me move my laminator. I'm going to place that into my little sandwich here. And I'm going to fold that over. Now I'm going to send that through the laminator. And when I do, I like to send it through the laminator with the folded side of the parchment paper going in first. This way you don't have these loose flaps that can get caught up in the roller. All right, and here it goes. You just have to hold it. You'll feel it grab, and then you can let go. So while that's going through, I want to tell you a little bit about toner paper, because if you don't have toner paper and you're thinking about maybe getting some of this stuff tonight over on Thermoweb's website, you might want to put a pack of toner paper in your cart, because toner paper allows you to do so many cool things. This is toner paper. It is basically a thinner cardstock that is coated with this toner. Basically, it's like a commercial grade toner. It's very thick on there, and it allows you to put foil on there, and then you can take that and you can die cut it and have beautiful foiled cardstock. All right, so this just came out. If you hear buzzing, it's because this is heating back up again, and it's probably picking up on my microphone. And now I'm going to pull the foil out. Let me zoom in because everybody has to see this up close. Let me get my zoom. This is the ah moment, right? Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it so much. Yes. So the Blanco dries and it's not tacky at all, and that's only stuck on there because of my tape on the back. And then it works great with the foil, and it works great with the enamel. The white, having that white underneath really makes anything thinner really pop out. And I'm just cutting the little excess off there because I wasn't neat with my Blanco technique. But there's a little foiled hat. So we're going to keep that one aside. Now, for my next one that I'm going to run through, I'm going to run a hat through with a little bit of flock. So I'm going to get my flock out of here. I don't have a little piece. I do somewhere, but I don't know where it went. So I'm going to just get a big piece here. And I'm going to cut a piece of flock that is about the same size as this hat. Now on this hat, you can see the little dots are clear. That means that I used not the Blanco, but the Duo. Now with foil, you always put it so it's the pretty side up. But with flock, you flip it upside down and you put the fuzzy side down onto the transfer gel. Then I'm going to put that inside the sandwich again, and I'm going to run that through the laminator. And there it goes. So now I have this guy, and I'm going to have a flocked hat. I think I need to do a glittery tree. So I'm going to use some of the silver for this. And once I get all these pieces together, then we will have some fun assembling a card. That's right, Beth. So if you guys have any questions, Tom will shoot those my way. I know there's always questions when it comes to foiling, but I'm kind of busy, so I'm not really seeing all of them. So
Newbie wants to know, please, what is flock?
Well, flock is fuzzy. Remember the old flock that was loose and it was fuzzy to create like tails on bunnies and things like that? Well, this flock is put together already on some backing, and then you put it through the laminator and it creates a fuzzy feel. So I'm pulling that off and you see, look at all the cute little fuzz. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. You can feel it on there. That is just adorable. And you can see what's left behind. So you could almost take your scissors and cut that out and make another hat. You could fill in those little holes because the outline is right there. So if you're a good fussy cutter, even if you're not a good fussy cutter, I mean, these aren't very difficult, but you can cut this out and then you can use this as another little hat. Let's do it. And of course, the flock comes in other colors. So, you know, if you do it in a darker color, then you'll really be able to see the details because the details left behind will be in white. So here's a little beard and we can put that hat right on him. So make sure you save your flock pieces. You don't have to waste anything when it comes to ThermoWeb products. Okay, so Tom will share the link so you can find this kit. I see some of you are asking for it. This kit, why is it called Duo? Why is the gel called Duo? So you can use this gel with or without heat. So it stays tacky, and so you can actually put foil on there or flock on there and you can rub it really hard and it will stick to the transfer gel without using the laminator. I prefer to use the laminator because I don't have a lot of strength in my hands, and you guys know that I have to use the Chucky tool just to press my Misty down. But it does work. You can get right in there with a little bit of foil. You put foil on there and then you rub it really hard. And this is gluey and tacky, so it will stick on there. So for those of you who don't want to invest in a laminator, pick up the Transfer Gel Duo and you're able to use it. It does stick well. It's good to know, Donna, that it sticks well. Sharon, that's great. Can you flock felt? I don't know. I've never tried, but I mean, flock kind of feels like felt. I bet if you used a stencil and put the transfer gel over the felt and then ran it through a laminator, you probably could. Okay, so now I'm going to do another little technique here for you. I'm going to cut a small piece of this toner paper. I am like the queen of not wasting anything here. I'm going to take a piece of this toner paper. I'm going to get a different piece of parchment because I crinkled my parchment and it was old parchment that I had used a million times. But ThermoWeb does sell their parchment paper, so you can definitely pick up some of that on their website. Also, when you buy things like Foil Mates and some of their other products, it does come with a piece of parchment paper already in there. So I'm going to lay this piece of toner paper on top, and then I'm going to cut out a piece of, let's do red. So here's some of the Radiant Red foil. Tell me this isn't gorgeous. Let me get it out of here. Look at that sparkle. That is such a great Christmas red. I'm telling you, the colors you're going to want. You already got the gold and the silver, which are the most coveted. And then add these to your cart too, the Radiant Red and the Glittering Green, because you'll be and also the Brilliant Blue. Because when you make projects with these, look at all that glitter and shine. It's beautiful. And then you'll have a color for each of your gnomes. All right, so I'm going to cut a piece of this red foil just a little bit bigger. I know this is going to go long tonight, guys. I am not going to be done in an hour because I have just too many things to show you, but that's okay. I'd rather do this than go back in the other room and watch the news. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to watch the news anymore ever again. All right, so I'm going to lay that on top, and then I'm going to put that through the laminator. And I'm going to get a couple other pieces here ready to go. I'm going to do some silver on this tree. I have a piece here. Let's just trim that to the right size. I think this piece will work. I think this one is meant for flock. I'm gonna do all foil with this card. I think I'll use this one to be safe. And you don't have to do one piece at a time either. So I'm going to do that next. I just wanted to show you this. Okay, so all of that foil is now transferred onto this cardstock. So now I have some glitter cardstock. Yes, you're right, Dawn. Gnomes are much better than news, both with G's. I love it. That's so cute. Oh. All right, and we're going to just finish up a couple of these other pieces. We're going to do the tree in silver. We'll do the tree in silver, and let's do this blue hat with some red foil. We'll do blue and red on this one. Okay. So this will be a little different than my traditional Christmas colors, but that's all right. So I'm going to send that through. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the belly die, the little body die of this guy. And I'm going to, instead of just die cutting his body out with just a plain red cardstock, I'm going to give him a glittery outfit for the holidays. So we're going to cut that out, and then we're going to assemble a fun little card. I should do I'll do the mountains with something else. No, I'll do the mountains with silver. So let me do that next. All right, I'm gonna, it's stuck there. Here we go, this sparkling silver tree. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love that. I really like this design because you can put rhinestones in there as well. And for those of you who are like me and have millions of embellishments, you have to use them. So we'll use that. And then this little hat, pulled that right off. And there's his little sparkly red hat. The toner paper, the weight, well, to me, it feels like maybe a 65, like 160 GSM. It feels like a 65 pound. There's also the self-adhesive toner paper, and that feels more like an 80 pound cardstock. And then one more thing I wanted to do, I wanted to do some silver. I'm going to do a strip of silver here. Just one strip, because I want to cut mountain peaks out with my silver. And then we're going to die cut, and we're going to put this card together. I'm going to use a bigger piece of silver. I just, you know, the thing about foiling is this is just one of those things that if you have kids or grandkids and if they don't like making cards, I'm telling you right now, show them foil. This is actually what got Rena into stamping. I remember it was Thanksgiving and the kids were over, my sister was over, my mom was over, and they were like, so what are you working on? And I said, oh, well, you want to see? This is when I first hooked up with ThermoWeb, and we had this release, this foil release coming out. And I said, you want to see foil? And they were like, yeah. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden, everybody wanted to play with foil. It's just one of those things that you have to touch, you have to play with when you see it. So make sure next time the kids or the grandkids have nothing to do, break out the foil and let them foil a few things. I'm telling you, you will have card making buddies forever. For sure. All right. So once this is done, we're going to be able to die cut and assemble a fun little card. So yes, I'm using the Royal Sovereign Laminator. ThermoWeb carries this laminator, so you can pick it up on the ThermoWeb site. And we'll link to the kit one more time here so that you guys can find the kit. And then you could just surf all around ThermoWeb site and find everything right there. Okay, so there is my silver glitter cardstock. Okay, now I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I've got a gnome hat, a gnome body. I've got some mountain peaks and a tree. I think I'm ready. I'm going to shut off my laminator and get it out of the way here. Watch me unplug the wrong thing and the whole system will go down. Not that that's ever happened before, right, Tom?
Never.
Never. All right. So I have my Spellbinders, platinum machine. You can cut using any of these, any machine, because these dies are wafer thin dies and they work with any die cutting machine. So, and I have my 2 plates here. Now I'm going to cut this out. Now some people say to me, why don't you cut out the piece before you foil it and then foil just the piece? There's a reason for that. When you die cut, and you can look really close here, you see the little nose, you see the little indentation there? You get indentations from the dies. Open dies just give you indentations. That's what they do. And that's really nice because it gives you more texture in your die cut pieces, but the foil can't get down into the edges. So you won't get foil in those areas and you'll have black spots from the toner paper. So I highly recommend when you're cutting words out with this sparkly paper and you're cutting shapes out with it, just do the foiling process first and then cut it out. Yep, you can definitely do that. You can use your die cutting machine for the duo, and that just puts pressure on it. You can, instead of using a laminator, you can do that. I'm just such a laminator freak. I love my laminator because the results are so spectacular all the time, but you definitely can use the duo without it. All right, so I'm going to cut out my mountain peaks here on this silver sparkly paper. Dawn, what is this called? It's sparkling silver, right? I know there's shimmer, sparkle. We went through every word that means glitter when we were naming all of the colors. There are so many colors too that you guys have to look at of this glitter foil. It's amazing. We've got the brilliant blue. We've got orange, dazzling orange, twinkling pink, brilliant blue, and there's the little mountain caps. Oh, this card. I'm going to take a picture of this card and I'm going to take it from some weird angles to make sure that you guys can really get the full shimmer effect. All right, so I think I cut everybody out. I've got lots of feet and noses and things that we can use. We could do a sparkly nose, but I don't think we need to. Okay, so I'm going to get a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to get my Misty. Tom, I forgot to tell you that we're going to go over tonight. And I know you don't care. You don't want to watch the news any more than I do. Okay, so I'm going to use my Misty for this and I'm going to pop it down here in the corner. And then I'm going to look for my stamp set. You should see the mess. I'm going to start with the mountains and I'm going to do these mountains kind of up high because I want them to appear like they are in the distance. So we'll put them up kind of high like this. Okay, well, there's a Mishi hair. Rena's puppy was here. Mishi. All right, I got to get my tidy towel and get the Mishi hair off of there. Mishi is Rena's little dog, and whenever Mishi comes over, he leaves lots of little hairs everywhere. He's a beautiful black Pomeranian, and I love him, but he's very hairy. All right, so we'll put that there. I just didn't want a hair in my mountainscape.
Questions about the toner paper again.
Sure.
What do you use that for?
The toner paper? Well, the toner paper will adhere the foil to it when you run it through the laminator. So foil is super thin. You know, you can't really it's hard to work with if you're trying to work with it as a paper. So by foiling the toner paper first, then it's nice and rigid and you can use it for die cut pieces and other things. And if you're tuning in late, you know, you can always go back and watch the replay and see how these things were done. So I'm going to use some warm cocoa ink and I'm going to ink up this mountain range. Now, this is one of those gigantic stamps that sometimes needs to be stamped more than once. And it is fairly new. So, you know, we need to do a couple layers to get it to really, it's not seasoned yet. So I haven't gotten it perfect yet. I kind of like that look though, because they're mountains and It's kind of a cool look, but we're going to make them solid. Okay, I know that's right where the microphone is, so. These giant stamps, they're just, you know, they take a few times. But I know they work because I did this one last night and I used puffy powder, puffy embossing powder on top, and it works. It just takes a couple times because it's so big. And because I'm so weak, even with my Chucky tool, it's hard to get pressure all over this thing. Okay. One more time, and then I will be done. I will give up. There we go. Okay, now we'll let that dry. That'll completely smooth out because you know our inks dry like they're airbrushed once they're completely dry. And it'll dry a lot lighter because this is actually the same color. See how much lighter it dries? That's how you know it's not dry. Okay. Now let me clean this stamp off of here.
Can you cut the toner paper and then foil the piece you cut out?
Well, I don't like to do that, and I had just mentioned that the reason I don't like to do that is because if you cut out the toner paper first with the die dents the toner paper, and then the foil can't get down into the dents. So I always recommend foiling the paper first and then choosing your die cut piece, then die cutting after. All right, so I am going to cut this whole thing out with a die as well once I figure out what I'm going to do here. But I'm going to take another piece of white cardstock. Now, if you're not good at just freehand cutting, this is the perfect reason to use your stencil. So you can take your stencil and you can just take a pencil and you can just draw a line along that. And that will make it easy for you to cut a snow hill. And I'll just cut that right under the line so I don't even have to erase it. I might have to erase a little. But I'm going to actually sponge along the edge, so I think it'll be fine. Okay, so there's my first snow hill. So that'll kind of go like that. And then I can use the other side. I can actually flip it over and use that side, but I think I'll use this side because I just want a thinner hill. And that's only if you don't feel comfortable fussy cutting a hill like that. I think most of you will probably be okay cutting it yourself. But we can do it like that. And actually, we'll do it like this. Okay. So we're going to get a sponge dauber. You can also use a blending brush. Let me find my sponge daubers. You guys know I never know what I'm going to make. If you're new to Gina K Designs, you're going to find out that I never know what I'm going to make until I go live. I know sort of what I'm going to make, but not all of it. So I'm going to use a little soft stone ink on a sponge dauber. And I'm going to very lightly just sponge along the edges here. And again, you can use a blending brush for this. That'll just make you be able to see it against the other one. To kind of see if I can do another hill. I think I might want to do another hill. If I do that, I can do one more hill coming in this direction, and I think I'll do it. I'm going to do it.
What kind of scissors are you using?
These are the new Tim Holtz scissors, the tonic scissors. They are amazing. They came in this case. It's like a little bed for them, and they just fit in there so nicely. They're brand new. I just got them. Sometimes, you know, you just have to get something new every once in a while. I don't even know if I need to go this far, but there we go. We'll do that. We'll put this up here. We'll put this down here. And we'll do this one over here. Like I said, a lot of this is going to get cut off, but I just want to make sure that I have enough going on. You know, this is part of this is the journey of making these cards. You don't have to rush, but once you have a layout like this, these are actually very easy to mass produce. It's the thinking stage that takes a while. Like, what do I really want to do here? Okay, so I'm going to adhere all this together, and I'm going to use my tape runner. So I'll start up here on the edge. There we go. And then I'll put this one on. Right here. And then I will throw this one right in here. There we go. Okay, so this is all going to get cut off. And I'll just cut that out. I think instead of using a die, I'm just going to cut it off with my paper cutter. So I'll start here at 3 3/4 inches. I'll cut that off. Then, is that 3 3/4 inches? Yeah. Then I'm going to cut a little bit off the one side here, kind of right up to the edge of the mountain. And then I'm going to cut the other side off at the 5-inch mark. Now, if you want the mountains to extend and you want it a little bit bigger, just trim it down a little bit closer on the sides. You can make this a little bit of a smaller card. In fact, I might do that. I might go 3.5. Let me just check something. I want to make sure my tree is going to fit on here. Yeah, it will. It will. It could go outside. I think I'll leave it here. Okay. Now I'm going to do a black piece of cardstock that measures just 1/8 of an inch bigger than that. So I'm going to go 3 1/4, so 3 7/8. And then that was 5 inches. So I'm going to go up to 5 1/8. That was 5 1/8 already.
This is the size of your laminator.
My laminator is the smaller laminator because it's the 9-inch one. If I could get it again, I would definitely get the 12-inch one though, because then you can do like full-blown scrapbook pages, and you can do like really big projects like the Mega Wreath Builder and things like that. All right, so I'm going to use a blending brush, and I'm going to use a little sea glass ink. And I'm going to do a little bit of sky back in there. Now, I normally don't like a messy sky. I mean, I like it to be super smooth blended. But when it comes to the sky, it's okay if it's not perfectly smooth, because if it's not perfectly smooth, it looks more like clouds. See what I'm saying? Looks a little more cloudy when you don't have it super smooth. And don't worry about going over that brown. That's not a big deal. Okay, so there's my sky. And now I'm going to mount this whole thing onto this black piece of cardstock. I've got my little scene going. Isn't this super easy to make this scene? So easy. Now you can use Connect Glue if you want to glue things together, but I'm using my tape tonight. You can see I did not use my my Master Layouts dies, because I do not have a perfect edge there. So now everybody hold their breath while I trim this down. Okay. Good job, everyone. Thank you for holding your breath for me. And now I'm going to put these little peaks on these mountains. Look how cute. Oh my word. Look at how cute and sparkly. Stop. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is so fun. This is just so fun. All right, I'm taping those on. Again, you could glue them, you could do whatever you want to get them on there, but make sure that you wash your hands so you don't get little marks like I'm getting. I can use my mono sand eraser to get those off though later. When you have a new kit, you just got to keep making stuff. You can't cut the live short. You got to show everything. And this is special because not everybody knows how to foil yet or flock and stuff. So I definitely wanted to make sure that you guys got to see that. Okay, so now I've got my glittery mountains. You want me to have a live on election night? That sounds like a great idea. I love that idea. Okay. Gnome is where the heart is. There's gnome place like home for the holidays. Oh, goodness. So what do I do? Do I do like that and just put the gnome, or do I put the... I'll put the gnome a little in front of the tree. Let's use there's gnome place like home for the holidays. Now, I'm going to do this greeting first because the more things I put on here, you know, the thicker the card is going to get. So let's just get the greeting on now. And then when you have a brand new stamp, you want to make sure that you rub all over the stamp to get whatever manufacturing residue there is off of the stamp. So I saw the mountain tops are foiled on toner paper, and then I cut that out using the dies. So you can make your own sparkly cardstock. And I did see another question go by, Tom. Can you scroll back just a little bit? Let's see. No, I think... Yeah, well, any parchment work. Okay, so here's my experience with parchment. I ran out of parchment, and I used my kitchen parchment paper, and it did not work as well. And the reason it did not work as well as the ThermoWeb parchment paper is because it's so much thicker. And it just didn't let enough heat get onto the project. So I would recommend that you get the ThermoWeb parchment paper if you can. If you can't, you could try some copy paper, but make sure it's really super thin, or typing paper. But, you know, the parchment paper is great, and it really, really works. And then that's the other thing. You know, if you don't use the system and then you have problems, it's really hard to troubleshoot. Most of the time it's something that you're using that wasn't designed to work with the foil. So I would recommend the parchment paper. It lasts a long time. Okay, so I'm going to get my greeting on here. There's gnome place like home. And I'm going to use my little Chucky tool here. Okay, I'm going to hope for the best. Yes, beautiful. There's gnome place like home. Okay, you don't want to hear me sing. All right, let's get rid of this. Put that aside, and we will start assembling this card. So we have our sparkly little tree, and then we need a little trunk. So I cut the little trunk here out of brown. I feel like I'm like in an airplane. You guys are trying to look down 5,000 feet. Here we go. Okay, much better. Is that still clear, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm going to put a little tape on the back of that. That was a lot of tape. And then I'm going to put the little trunk down here.
They want to hear you sing.
Of course, I shouldn't have. So today I had a Zoom conference call with our website company, and I was late to the call. And so I dialed in. If you've ever Zoomed, sometimes they require you to state your name before you enter. And so it said, please state your name. And I said, Lady Gaga. And I died laughing because it was so funny. It was like, Lady Gaga is entering the conversation. So, My fun guy emailed me tonight and he said, Lady Gaga, I have some information for you about your website. Okay, so I've got 4 of the thermal web foam squares on the back of this tree. And I'm going to pop the tree up. It's okay if you don't have a mink. You can get the Royal Sovereign laminator. It's super inexpensive and it works like a charm. Okay, so I'm going to put the tree here, and then I'm going to put the gnome kind of covering part of the tree. Definitely. He's going to be covering the tree. Going to be covering a lot of the tree, but that's okay. Now, I have a Copic marker on this desk somewhere, and this is C1. So I'm going to take a beard, and I'm going to just do a few strokes on this beard, just to give the beard a little texture. I'm just flicking it because I don't know how to color. So that looks pretty good, right? Now we'll do our cute little hat on top of him, like that. So we'll get some, I'm telling you, I'm like all into these die cuts now. It's so fun. He's gonna go right there next to the tree. And then we're gonna put him on this little glittery body. So we'll get some tape on the back there. And we'll get him right on there. So he's got a little red outfit and a little turquoise hat. So Jessica, you'll have to watch from the beginning. I actually used a laminator and I used some of the Decofoil Blanco transfer gel through a stencil that coordinates, it's part of the kit, to get it to stick to the tree. It's pretty easy to do. I have so many foiling videos. Now there is a left foot and a right foot, so I don't want to put 2 of the same. Why are they all together? Here we go. There we go. All right, I'm going to put some feet on the back. So if those of you are just getting here, you're probably wondering, like, how did you do this and how did you do that? But I have all of the instructions in this video. I made the whole thing from scratch pretty much, except cutting out a few of the die pieces. So there's his little feet. And we can put him right over here. Okay, so he needs a nose. So I'm going to use this one that I did in Barely There. And I've got a little brown left on my brush. And I'm just going to go around and edge it a little bit just to tint it a little darker. And you can pop the nose up if you want, or you can just put it right onto him. So I'm going to just put it right onto him. Let me get him over here. And we'll just put it right there. There we go. Okay. And of course, we need to use some more Thermoweb squares, foam squares. These are the ones in the Gina K line. They also come in black, which is really nice for when you're working with dark cardstock and you don't want to see the white sticking out. So I put 3 on there. I might have to use the little fuzzy flock ball on the end. And we'll get him butted right up against the tree. There we go. I think I should have moved that foam square over a little bit. Let's see if I can get in there and do that. Can I do it? We'll see. Maybe I just put him over there like that. All right. I'm going to move him. Ah! See, live. It's scary out here. We'll just move them over a little bit more, but I want to take the foam square off of the center there. There we go. Okay. And I can put one down there. I'm gonna move it again. Sorry, Tom. Tom's getting all scared and frustrated over there. Sorry.
Gnome abuse.
It's not gnome abuse. It's a little gnome abuse. He's looking pretty beat up back here. Okay, so we'll get him right up against the tree there. There we go. Cute. Okay. And then I'm going to use one of these fuzzy, I cut this out with flock, and I'm going to put, I could use glue for this, but I'm still going with tape. I'm still doing it. I'm going to put that right on the end of his little hat. There we go. Okay. One more thing I want to do. I've got to use a little Connect glue, and I want to put a few little sequins on this tree. So should I do silver or should I do red? I'll do red because it matches his little outfit. Normally I'll let you guys choose, but I know I've already held you for 15 minutes over. So we'll put a little sequin there. We'll put one there. Put one here. We'll put one down here. Maybe one up here. Might not put one there. I might just leave the glue there. We'll see. Because the sequins are a little big. I have other things I could use though. But we'll see. Okay. Got a sequin there. I could do a big sequin. Who cares if it's too big? And this is the Connect glue I'm using, and it goes on white, but it dries clear. So once it's dry, you wouldn't see those. Should I stick one up there anyway? Why not? I feel like I should put one there too. I'm going to do it. One more. Why not? Let's just add all the glitter we can possibly add.
Put one in his beard.
One on his beard. All right, so you know, we're going to play with this kit and have a Tom K night, and Tom will be here to help. And then I think I'm going to put this whole thing on a red card base. That'll be cute. Normally I go with white when I have this much color, but this is so much holiday. So I'm going to score this real quick. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper cut in half. So it's cut 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25 inches. And then I really should have waited, but I'll be brave and put the tape on the cardstock here. My goodness. This is not edge to edge, but it's going to have to do. Oh, yeah. Look at all that glitter. Isn't that fun? And so there's my finished card. So much sparkle and shine. Love it. And then for those of you that aren't the sparkle and shine people, here's the one that I made that I posted on my Instagram today. And this one is just done with pattern paper, and I used just some embossing powder. I stamped it. So that's just a totally different look. So you can go crazy, fun, wild, glittery, glitzy, flocky, or you can go more subdued by just using the stamps with the dies. But either way, you're going to get everything that you need in the kit to get started with some really fun gnome projects. Well, let's go to me. Thank you. Here we go. You guys, thank you all so much for joining me tonight and hanging in there with me. I know we went quite a bit over. I will be back. What is today? Wednesday? I will be back next Monday. Just so you guys know, Monday night we have our Gina K Designs release, and we have a brand new kit coming out then. We also have some other stamp sets by our illustrators and some new dies that you can add to your collection. And that's going to be our last big new release of the year. We're going to have a tiny one in December, but it's not going to be like this. So Between the gnomes and our new holiday release, we are going to have fun all through the rest of October, through all of November, and into quite a bit of December, making all kinds of holiday projects. Now, with these gnomes, you're going to see me break out a spring card because I can't help but think these gnomes are just as perfect for garden gnomes. So you can pick up your kit. Tom, if you could share that link one more time in the comments. It's also in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video. That really helps me a lot. And if you're looking to purchase this kit and some of the other wonderful things, you can click the link in this video, head over to ThermoWeb and find this and so many other fun things. You're going to get lost because it's just a sparkly mecca over there. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. In the meantime, before I come back on Monday, stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all, and I'll see you again real soon. Mwah. Bye-bye.